Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible to everyone. We welcome you all for this today's lecture on consumer law. Now I will request Advocate Vaishali Tikli to give a small introduction about Uday sir.
Good evening, everyone. Though I have already introduced Uday sir in earlier lecture, but for the newcomers, I will repeat myself and introduce him again. Sir is having 26 years of standing in this field, and since last 26 years, he has been practicing in High Court and subordinate courts. And he is a Consumer Courts Advocate Association, Maharashtra, president of this forum, and also a member of Maharashtra Bar Council of Maharashtra and Goa. I welcome you, sir. And today's topic he will be speaking on is consumer law. Over to you, sir.
Namaskar. Firstly, today being 14th of April, let me express a tribute to Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. I'm sure we are aware that he is a person who was practicing in our Bombay High Court, who started his career in Bombay. Now, coming back to the main issue, namely the consumer protection law or the consumer laws. This is one of the legislation which has opened several new opportunities, new doors for the lawyers. And over and above that, now the new bill which was introduced in the Lok Sabha has been gazetted. The bill was passed. The bill was passed in the month of December 2018 in the Lok Sabha. It has been gazetted but not yet given effect. So therefore, in my sharing with all friends who are sitting here, I am going to point out the provisions of the Act which is in existence as on today, namely Consumer Protection Act 1986, and I am going to make a reference about certain provisions which are introduced by virtue of the new bill, but the appointed date of the said new act is not yet been declared. As a result of that, the act is there in the statute book, but it is not yet given effect so far. Let us go back to the Consumer Protection Act and let us find out why this Consumer Protection Act was enacted. We people are perhaps not aware about the milestones which our legislative department has also achieved. This is one of such enactment which was the first in the world. In 1986, there was an international convention which was a United Nations convention based on which India implemented that international convention and the new act was enacted. You will be surprised to know that this Consumer Protection Act 1986 was a model for various other independent laws made by different countries in the world. Now, this is an act which was enacted with a simple view to provide better protection of the interest of consumers. Underline the word better. The word better shows that there was something in existence. There was some remedy which was already in existence, but it was not sufficient to protect the interest of the consumer, and therefore the new act came to be enacted. That is that 1986 Act. So let us try to find out what were the general provisions which were available before this special provision which was made. The general provision, like if you go to the Indian Penal Code, you will find with reference to the weights and measurement, there are some offenses which are created. With reference to black marketing, the offenses are created. With reference to other kind of a deficiency, there are provisions under the Contract Act, like Sale of Goods Act also. So there are already provisions which are there, but those provisions were not sufficient to protect the interest of the consumer. For better understanding, I'll give an illustration that there is a cooperative society in Mumbai or a metropolitan Mumbai region. And what was the remedy available at that point of time prior to Consumer Protection Act? Let us try to find out. If the landlord or the builder developer fails to execute the conveyance, then the remedy was that under the MOFA Act, the person will have to go to the society, will have to go to the civil court for obtaining a decree of a decree of a conveyance. Likewise, there was a remedy of going to the registrar, which is known as a deemed conveyance, which has been introduced very recently. As compared to this, if you consider the new remedy, namely the Consumer Protection Act 1986, then you will find this remedy is most cheaper, convenient, speedy, so far as that common consumer is concerned. And now, therefore, the three simple questions will come. What is the meaning of the word consumer? Number two, how he can be protected? And number three, what are the other features of this enactment? So let us go one by one. So far as the word consumer is concerned, those who are interested, they may note down section 2, subsection D. Section 2, subsection D contemplates what is the meaning of the word consumer. The definition is a lengthy definition, but in nutshell, I can tell you there are two big rather segments. One is with reference to purchase of the goods. So therefore, the person who has purchased the goods will be a consumer. In addition to this, there is another segment, namely services. The person who hires or avails of the services is also known as a consumer. But so far as the goods are concerned, if the goods are purchased for resale, then the Consumer Protection Act says that you are not a consumer because you are supposed to consume. If you are purchasing it for resale, then of course you are outside the scope of Consumer Protection Act. For both these, namely the goods and service segment, you will find there is an exception, namely if the goods are purchased for commercial purpose or if the services are availed for commercial purpose, then there is an exclusion. Now, something interesting, let us go back to the Contract Act. You will find the Contract Act also provides the term consideration. Consideration includes the future consideration, also includes the past consideration, includes the deferred payment of system also. All those different types of the contracts are covered under this act also, because this says that the person who has paid money for buying the goods or the person who has paid the money for availing the services is already covered, but the beneficiary is also covered. So therefore, the act, when it was drafted at that point of time in 1986, was sufficient wide enough. Despite that, it was realized that by influx of time, several developments have taken place in India, and therefore the other amendments were required. So therefore, the new bill was introduced. It has been passed. I'll come to that aspect little later. Now, so far as the complaints are concerned, the complaint can be again with reference to the defect in the goods. So therefore, if somebody has purchased the goods, and he finds that there is a defect in the goods, then he can go back to the consumer forum and or the commission and make a complaint about that. There can be a deficiency in the services. This deficiency in the services is a very wide term. So therefore, let us go back to the basic terminology, namely services. And those who are interested, they may note down section 2, subsection O, that is about the services. So therefore, which are those services which are covered under the act? That is something interesting. And therefore, for the benefit of those persons who are unable to note, I will like to read. And that says that so far as these services are concerned, the terminology of services, give me 1 minute. Yes, service means service of any description which is made available to the potential user and includes, now kindly keep this in mind, and includes but not limited to the provisions of facilities in connection with banking. So therefore, all those disputes with reference to banking can come under consumer protection. Financing, so therefore all finance companies can come here. Insurance, initially there were only 4 insurance companies, now 24 companies are there, including the multinational companies. So all those insurance disputes can come here. Transport, so transport includes the all types of the transport, so therefore the private transport, the air transport, the sea transport, all kind of transports are covered. Hiring of the transport services is covered. Then processing, something different, somebody will have to apply mind, and then what are that processing services that can also be brought. Supply of the electricity, now we are aware that now there is a new act, namely Electricity Act 2013, so therefore large number of disputes are coming up so far as the that act is concerned, so therefore that can also come here. So supply of the electrical or other energy, boarding or lodging or both, so therefore hotels, then restaurants, all these are covered. Then housing construction, that is also one of the big industry in respect of which already a RERA Act has been enacted, but the act contemplates that there is already a inclusion so far as the Consumer Protection Act is concerned. Entertainment is a service, so therefore qua entertainment, again whatever the contracts are there, you can invoke the Consumer Protection Act. Amusement, or the purveying of the news or other information. So therefore all these are virtually covered so far as the terminology of services, and as I said, it's inclusive services and not limited to those which I read out. It says that there is only one exclusion, namely the contract for free of charge service or a personal services. So therefore those free of charge services are excluded. Now here I would like to make a reference about the judgment of VP Shanta versus Indian Medical Association, because those medical service providers were raising an issue that we are not covered under the Consumer Protection Act. Matter went up to the Honorable Supreme Court. Supreme Court categorized 3 categories. One, where some fees are where the fees are charged while providing the medical services. Second, when no fees are charged at all for providing the services. And third, partly paid and partly free type of the services. The Honorable Supreme Court said that so far as the act is concerned, the act says that free of charge services are excluded. So therefore, if any medical service provider is providing free of charge service to everybody, irrespective of his standing, race, religion, creed, whatever caste, then that person is outside the purview of Consumer Protection Act. So therefore, that category is excluded, but other 2 categories, namely when the medical services are charged, as well as some patients are charged and some patients are given free of charge, even then those services are also covered under the Consumer Protection Act. Those who are interested, they can visit the website and find out the citation of VP Shanta versus Indian Medical Association, which has created such 3 kinds of services. Now it also provides that there will be a one of the big definition, namely unfair trade practice, because there can be a complaint which can be filed on the basis of the allegation of unfair trade practice. Those who are interested, please make a note. Section 2 subsection R defines unfair trade practice. It is a very lengthy definition, but for the purpose of convenience, I can say that misleading advertisement, then making a incorrect claim, or some kind of assurance which is sought to be given about the standard or the quality of the product or the services, all those are covered. My specific recommendation to the viewers of this web lecture series, that without fail, please use your mobile and go through the definition of the unfair trade practice. There is also a definition by name restrictive trade practice, that is under section 2NNN, restrictive trade practice. Those who are interested, they can also go through that. These are the 4 terminologies, or rather 5 terminologies. One is a defect in the good, second is a deficiency, then the third is a unfair trade practice, fourth is a restricted trade practice, and fifth is a residuary. These are the 5 things which are covered under the complaint. So in other words, if there is a defect, you can file a complaint. If there is a deficiency, you can file a complaint. If there is unfair trade practice, you can file a complaint. If there is a restrictive trade practice, then you can file a complaint. And the last is a residual, in respect of which you can file a complaint. Now, this is the basic answer to the first question, namely, who can be protected. Now, the question comes that how he should be protected. As we have seen that the act was having an intention to provide better protection of the interest of the consumer. So therefore, how interest can be provided? We'll have to keep this in mind that protection of interest includes protection of the rights. Now, why I'm saying so? Because in the Act, 1986 Act, there was no specific provision about the rights of the consumer. But we as a student of law, we are aware that there is a subject by name interpretation of statute, which we have studied in our law schools. The statement of object and reason can be read as an external aid so far as the interpretation of the provisions is concerned. So therefore, the statement of statement of object and reasons of 1986 enactment makes a reference to the rights of the consumer. There are different rights of the consumers which are provided in the statement and object of the 1986 Act. Now, that thing which was left out is covered under the new Act, namely 2019. But as I said, that the new Act is yet to start its effect, because it has been given effect, but the appointed date, it has been passed, but appointed date has not yet been declared. So therefore, those rights of the consumer are included in the topic by name protection of the interest of the consumer. Now the question will come, how are you going to protect the interest of the consumer? And therefore now there is a mechanism. Mechanism says that this Act contemplates that there will be three-tier system, namely a consumer protection council. So in nutshell, you can say CPC, Consumer Protection Council. Now at the district level, there will be District Consumer Protection Council. At state level, there will be State Consumer Protection Council. And at a central level, there will be Central Consumer Protection Council. Those who are interested, they can note down for District Protection Council, Section 8A, for State Protection Council, Section 7, and for Central Consumer Protection Council, there is Section 4. Now, what are their functions? The functions are protecting the rights of the consumer. So therefore, again, different functions, different objectives are there. Section 6, Section 8, and Section 6B. Section 8B are there so far as this kind of a mechanism of creation of a council is concerned. But as I said, that this is not sufficient, and therefore there was a challenge. The challenge was, how are you going to provide speedy, faster, convenient, and cheaper remedies? Take a case that a person is having some problem with reference to the mobile which the person has purchased. Then the question is whether that person is going to file a suit for damages in the civil court. We all are from Mumbai or metropolitan region of Mumbai. So therefore, whether the person is going to file a suit at Dindoshi or City Civil and Sessions Court at Fort for claiming of a damages. And if he does so, then how many years it is going to take? And the rules of Indian Evidence Act will require him to give a expert opinion, then the cross-examination, several things are going to happen. So therefore, how a convenient, speedy, cheaper justice can be made available to the consumer? That was a question. And therefore, at a district level, the agencies were created, at a state level agencies were created, and at the national level agencies were created. What is this agency? This is known as district forum at district level, state commission at state level, and a national commission at national level. Now this is in addition to the existing remedy. Now you will ask, sir, what is this? Therefore, whosoever who is interested, please go to section 3. This section 3 contemplates that this remedy is not in derogation with the existing remedies, but in addition to the existing remedies. That means The remedy of approaching the civil court, remedy of approaching the criminal court is already in existence. Despite that, the legislators have created an additional remedy. Now, why people are getting attracted to the Consumer Protection Act? I'll tell you very frankly, up till now, from a common man's point of view or consumer's point of view, there was no representation of the interest of the consumer in the judicial system. The judges are selected or appointed amongst the advocates. Advocates are the persons who are having a right to practice the profession, in the field of law. They are highly qualified persons. They may or may not have a sensitization vis-a-vis the rights of the consumer and the problems faced by the consumer. Therefore, the Act contemplates that there is a separate remedy, namely a composition of the district forum, state commission or national commission has been changed. Usually, there used to be a single judge or a number of judges who were supposed to deliver the judgments and adjudicate different issues. But this Act contemplates that there will be one judicial person. He will be assisted by and accompanied by two other persons, out of which one will be a woman. So therefore, 33% reservation came automatically, because large number of consumer disputes were of such a nature which were requiring some kind of a different treatment. And it is well known that the women at large are well known for handling the disputes from a different perspective, which is evident which has been recognized from time and again. So therefore, 2 plus 1 is a composition that one will be a female member. Out of them, out of 3, now one is a judicial, 2 persons are remaining. So far as those 2 persons are concerned, it is provided that the person should have a special knowledge in the field of consumer industry also. So therefore, the person who is representing the consumer also got an opportunity to participate in the process of delivering the justice. Now, let me tell you something interesting about this Act. Usually, X versus Y is a case which we are filing in the court of law, and the honorable judges are supposed to deliver the judgment. So therefore, it is an adjudicatory mechanism. Here there is an adjudication, and then thereafter there will be a execution of that particular judgment. So therefore, there will be a decree, and that decree will be executed. This is known as an adjudicatory mechanism. But under the Consumer Protection Act, if we go back to the preamble goes to show that the object of this mechanism is to settle the consumer disputes. Now, there is a vast difference between these two terminologies, and all my young friends who are sitting on that side, they can appreciate that adjudication of a dispute is different than settlement of the dispute. So settlement of the consumer dispute, if that is an object which was introduced in the year 1986, then of course that was one of the such ground on the basis of which large number of persons got attracted to the Consumer Protection Act. Now let us try to find out what was a composition. 2 plus 1 plus 2, 1 judicial plus 2 non-judicial, that was a composition. They were having the jurisdiction to decide the cases which were having the pecuniary jurisdiction also. So far as the district forum is concerned, at present 20 lakh or below 20 lakh is the pecuniary jurisdiction. So far as the state commission is concerned, 20 lakh to 1 crore is the pecuniary jurisdiction, and above 1 crore it goes to the Honorable National Commission at New Delhi. This is a pecuniary jurisdiction. Now the question comes about the territorial jurisdiction, because we are aware that after pecuniary, territorial jurisdiction is one of such issue on the basis of which there can be a debate. So therefore, it says that where the opposite party resides will be a place where you can file a complaint. In addition to this, Act also contemplate that if there are more than one opposite party, then where one of the opposite party is having an office or branch office can also be chosen as a place where you can file a complaint. Also, the Act contemplates that at the place where the cause of action has arisen, you can file a complaint at that particular place also. Now, there will be a deviation so far as the new Act is concerned. New Act contemplates that where consumer resides or where consumer is working, he can file a case at that place also. Let us compare this with the provisions of the Hindu Marriage Act. Prior to 1976, we are aware that the cases were to be filed at a place where the opposite party used to reside. But 1976 amendment contemplate that where the woman is residing is a place where the complaint can be filed. She can go to the court where she is residing. So therefore, the same logic has been implemented in the new Act. But as I said a few minutes back, the appointed date has not yet been declared. Section 12, 13 and 14 of the Act is common so far as all these three forums are concerned, three agencies are concerned. So Section 12 contemplates how a complaint to be filed. 13 contemplates the procedure upon receipt of the complaint. And Section 14 contemplates finding and the order of the agency. This is common so far as the Honorable State Commission and the National Commission at a state and the national level. So therefore, those who are interested, they may note down this group of Section 12, 13, 14, and those are common for all those complaints which are filed before all agencies. Now, something interesting, the strict principles of CPC are not applicable so far as Consumer Protection Act is concerned. So therefore, the strict rule of CPC is not applicable, but the principles of CPC are applicable. So principles of CPC means there is a dilution. So therefore, you can't make an application like Order 9, Rule 13 of the Civil Procedure Code for setting aside ex parte decree in the before the district forum or the state commission or the national commission. But the principles are applicable. Now, there used to be a debate about the degree of evidence or the standard of the evidence. Several occasions, the usual defenses were raised on behalf of the opposite party, saying that no, there is a need to cross-examine the witnesses, and therefore this is not a case which can be summarily decided. So therefore, let the complaint be returned to the consumer for presenting it before the appropriate forum, namely the civil court, etc. But by influx of time, various judgments of the National Commission and the Honorable Supreme Court came, which says that leading of an evidence is also permissible in the exceptional cases. So exceptional cases is contemplated as a result of that in most of the cases without cross-examination or without filing, without asking the person to enter into the witness box, the complaint can be heard and the order can be passed. There can be a group litigation, there can be a class litigation. With the leave of the agencies, you can file a complaint which is for the group number of persons also. It also contemplates that whenever a complaint is filed, if it is with reference to the goods, then the goods can be referred to the appropriate laboratory and the laboratory report will be considered and then the order can be passed. If there is a deficiency, if there is a complaint about the deficiency in the services, then with reference to the same also the expert opinion can be obtained, and then based on that the order can be passed. That is a procedure which is contemplated under the provisions of the Section 12, 13 and 14. Section 14 contemplates that what are the types of the order which can be passed by the forums agencies. Take a case that if somebody is aggrieved by the order passed by the district forum, then there is a remedy by of an appeal. The appeal goes to the Honorable State Commission. The appeal limitation is 30 days. There is a provision for condonation of delay if just and sufficient cause is shown. But it says that the part of the amount is required to be deposited before the district forum before preferring an appeal, 25,000 or the part of the amount, whichever is lower, you can check the provisions. Now, something interesting that in the state of Maharashtra, there are 45 such a district forum, 44 district forums which are established by the state of Maharashtra. So therefore, in some places there are more than one. If we are considering about Mumbai, then you will find that there are 2 district forum at Bandra near Chetana College in the government collector building. That is for the suburb area, namely western suburb and eastern suburb. So far as the Bombay Island is concerned, at Parel near MGM Hospital or MD College, Maharshi Dayanand College, you will find 2 forums are situated, namely the Central Mumbai and the South Mumbai Forum. Then there are state commissions who are also having the original jurisdiction, which is situated at opposite CST and near the Kala Ghoda. So therefore, there are 2 places where the honorable members and the president of the state commission, they are sitting, and that's a place of seat. So therefore, so far as the state commission is concerned, there is a original jurisdiction, as I said, about the pecuniary and the appellate jurisdiction as well as the supervisor jurisdiction. Now, something interesting, we are making a complaint about the bottleneck of the cases which are happening at the superior level. So therefore, there is a specific provision under section 17B for providing the circuit bench of the state commission. So there can be a circuit bench during the tenure of Justice R.C. Sawan, retired judge of the Bombay High Court, as a president of the state commission. Circuit benches of the state commissions were started. There is a circuit bench at Kolhapur, there is a circuit bench at Pune, circuit bench at Amravati, circuit bench at Nasik also. These are the circuit benches. Maybe once in a 3-month or once in a 4-month is a frequency minimum, I can say. And so far as the National Commission is concerned, the similar provision you will find under section 22C, and the National Commission is also conducting the circuit benches at Mumbai and Pune also. Now, all my young friends who are on that side, they are aware that there is a demand made from time and again that it is not possible for everybody to go to Delhi for approaching the Supreme Court, and let there be a circuit benches of the Supreme Court, or let there be benches of the Supreme Court and then Court of Appeal will be there, but the Constitutional Court will be at Supreme Court. Those were the suggestions. But here is an act which has already introduced circuit benches. Now, so far as the procedure is concerned, as I said, it is common. So far as the person who is aggrieved by the order passed by the state commission is concerned, he can go to the National Commission. The retired judge of the Supreme Court will be a president of the National Commission. Retired or a sitting judge of the state commission of the High Court can be a president of the state commission. Then the judges from the district judiciary, they are also appointed as a member. The judges from the High Court are also appointed as a member at a national level. Now, this is a mechanism which is provided under the Act. Now, the question will come, what is the period of limitation? Period of limitation is 2 years from the date of cause of action. Now, usually you will find that with reference to all claims under the Limitation Act, usually it is said that 3 years is the period. But under the Consumer Protection Act, it contemplates that 2 years is a period of limitation. Now, in addition to this, there is a remedy for enforcement of those provisions, namely, if there is an order which is passed by the any of the agency like district forum, state commission, or national commission, the person can make an application to the that forum itself or the agency itself for getting a certificate. That certificate will be known as a recovery certificate. That recovery certificate will be transferred to the collector for recovery of the amount as if it is arrears of the land revenue. Now, this is an amendment which was made in 2003. Prior to that, there was a provision that the order passed by the district forum, state commission, or the national commission will be treated as a decree, and it will be filed as if it is it will be filed in a manner of chapter 21 of the CPC, namely a execution under the civil code. There were criticisms, so therefore the amendment was made in 2003. But as of today, so far as that execution through collector is concerned, again it is a time-consuming process because we are in Maharashtra. So therefore, the provisions of Maharashtra Land Revenue Code are applicable, you will find that Tahsildar is a authority against whom there is a remedy by an appeal to the collector, from collector to the commissioner, commissioner to the government. So therefore, there is a tedious mechanism for recovery of the arrears of the land revenue. So therefore, that remedy is not giving easy execution or a timely execution of the order. There is a section 27 which says that there will be penalty. This is proving as this has been proved as one of the teeth of the Consumer Protection Act. This contemplates that if the order is not implemented by the opposite party, trader, manufacturer, etc., then that manufacturer, trader, or the service provider will be sentenced to suffer imprisonment. Now, the something interesting question will come that this is a mechanism where one judge plus two non-judicial persons are there. Then how are they going to deliver the justice? So therefore, about the criminal law, the power has been given. A deeming provision is created that the district forum or the state commission or the national commission will be exercising the power under the criminal procedure code. So this is as good as a criminal trial so far as the criminal aspect, namely section 27, is concerned. And you will be surprised to know that large number of cases are getting settled immediately as soon as the bailable or non-bailable warrants are issued. Large number of cases are settled, and the defaulting parties have been put to undergo the rigorous simple imprisonment. So therefore, there is a teeth so far as this act is concerned, and as compared to section 21, chapter 21 of the Civil Procedure Code, this seems to be a convenient, faster, and the cheaper remedy. There is a appeal under section 27 capital A of the Consumer Protection Act. So therefore, the person who is convicted under section 27, he can go and file an appeal. This is in nutshell a mechanism so far as the Consumer Protection Act is concerned. Now, so far as the state of Maharashtra is concerned, I must tell you some interesting fact. As I said, 44 district forums are concerned, out of which 22 forums are having honorable district judges, either sitting or retired, who are appointed as a president, and 50%, namely 22 posts, are reserved for the advocates. So therefore, this is one of the good opportunity. Those persons who are willing to join the judicial career, they can be appointed as a president of the district forum. The initial term will be 5 years. It can be extended by another 5 years. So the total tenure will be for 10 years. So far as the today's situation is concerned, we are aware that there is a video conferencing which is going on. On account of this corona situation, we are unable to go to the court. This was envisaged long back, and the entire state of Maharashtra, so far as the consumer laws are concerned, it has initiated e-filing. So that e-filing has been effectively going on under the Consumer Protection Act in the state of Maharashtra. You can file a complaint from your place of residence or online. So far as the arguments are concerned, unfortunately, as on today, the filing is only e-filing. E-argument is concerned. The advocates are ready and willing, and I'm sure the e-argument will also take place in near future. Now, these are the certain features and the things which are there in the state of Maharashtra. But the question comes as to why the central government thought it fit to introduce a new legislation. Now, in the last several years, you must have seen that there is a tremendous increase in the e-commerce. Online transactions are happening rapidly. There was no specific provision with reference to the e-commerce under the old act. And so far as e-commerce is concerned, of course, there were different territorial issues, like the person who is at a receiving end, whether that's a place, whether the transaction which is routed through the server. So therefore, whether the server is kept will be a place where the complaint can be filed. There were different debates which were going on about that. And ultimately, although digital consumers or the digital e-book, e-commerce era, whichever name you may call, that era or that particular type of the consumers are covered under the new act, namely Consumer Protection Act 2019. But as I said that up till now, the act has been notified, but appointed date has not yet been declared. So therefore, this online transaction, e-commerce, as well as the digital transactions are concerned, all those are directly and specifically covered under the new act, namely the Consumer Protection Act 2019. Along with that, the pecuniary jurisdiction is also increased. We are aware that anybody who is purchasing a house in Mumbai, he will have to spend in crores. If somebody goes in the suburb, then of course it will be more than rupees 20 lakh. So therefore, we will have to go to the state commission or the national commission in the prevailing provisions of the law. But so far as the new act is concerned, it has been extended. Now the district forum will have a jurisdiction up to 1 crore, and up to 5 crore the territorial jurisdiction will be for the state commission, and above 5 crore it will be at the national commission. Now this is a pecuniary jurisdiction which is sought to be increased by virtue of the new act. In addition to this, the product liability has been added. What is this product liability? Usually we are saying that under the Indian law, the product liability is not there. Let us go back to the Sale of Goods Act. Let us go back to the Contract Act. Let us go back to the Consumer Protection Act 1986. You will not find the product liability is there. I'll give an illustration that there is a car which is purchased, or a two-wheeler which is purchased. If you find there is a manufacturing defect in that vehicle, then there can be a replacement. Otherwise, if it is repairable, then there can be repair. This is a law as on today. But the liability of that product is not specifically covered. Along with that, those persons who are doing an advertisement about that product, they are also held, they are as a person responsible with reference to that product. So this is a new area which is introduced under the act. But as I said that appointed date has not yet been declared. The reason for the same is very simple. There are large number of interests which are conflicting. As I said, product liability, as I said, the online transaction, as I said, e-commerce, and even the medical lobby is also very strong lobby in India. So they're still putting their pressure, and right or wrong, the honorable, the central government ministry has not yet taken a decision for declaring the appointed date. Now, a few more things which I wish to point out, like so far as advocates are concerned, there were cases which were filed against the advocate under the Consumer Protection Act. We are providing services. The matters were filed up to the Honorable Supreme Court, and in view of the Supreme Court proceeding, now as on today, the advocates are outside the purview of Consumer Protection Act. So therefore, it is possible that in the near future there is a judgment which will be decided in or against the interest of an advocate. We will have to keep this in mind. You will find, so far as the Honorable Bombay High Court is concerned, in the public interest litigation filed by Mumbai Grahak Panchayat, it is supervising the issue of providing infrastructure to all district forums and the state commission, etc., in the state of Maharashtra. So therefore, in the near future, we are expecting that these are the places where large number of advocates will get good opportunities. I must tell you one more aspect, that not only advocates, there are authorized representatives who are also permitted to appear before the district forum or the state commission or the national commission. National commission has framed the accreditation rules, and based on which the exams are conducted, and some authorized representatives are permitted by the state commission. As on today, there is a list of around 9 such authorized representatives who have been recognized by the state of Maharashtra. So therefore, these are the 9 persons who are likely to compete against the advocate. And of course, the matter is required to be taken to the Honorable High Court or the Supreme Court level, challenging those regulations, because we advocates are answerable to our litigants but those authorized representatives are not answerable. We are governed by the rules of ethics. They are not answerable. One more shortcoming of this entire act is this act is coming under the purview of Consumer Affairs Ministry of the central or the state government. Now, this is one of the drawback according to me. As a student of law, if this is consumer laws are replacing the traditional disputes and large number of cases are being filed every year, then there is a need to bring this consumer agencies, namely district forum, state commission or national commission, under the purview of the umbrella of the High Court. You are aware that similar was the situation long back, about 30 years back, so far as the cooperative department is concerned. Cooperative court, judges from the cooperative court were being appointed by the cooperative department of the state of Maharashtra. The matters were filed before Bombay High Court, and Bombay High Court ultimately took over the same. And now under the umbrella of the Bombay High Court, now the judges are appointed. So therefore, appointment, transfer, disciplinary authority, etc., vest in the Bombay High Court. The similar is a need so far as the Consumer Protection Act is concerned, so that there will be a better administration of the and the settlement of the consumer disputes. This is an act which has given a new opening to large number of advocates in the state of Maharashtra. Around 3,000 to 4,000 lawyers are practicing before the different district forums, and these number of advocates are increasing. And as a young lawyers, I can tell you very frankly that this is one of the good opportunity where the senior lawyers are not coming nowadays. It is giving a comparatively easy, faster and convenient result. So therefore you can think of starting your career in the Consumer Protection Act. This is almost 46 minutes. I'm sorry for encroachment. I was asked to speak for 45 minutes. I have encroached for 1.5 minutes almost. I'm sorry to the organizers. Now you can ask questions.